Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Joining us today on Talk Law Radio is Cheri Ettinger, a longtime San Antonio area resident, a realtor with Option 1 Real Estate, and dedicated community servant who's stepping forward to serve the children and families of District 7 of the Northeast Independent School District Board of Trustees. Cheri, you're on KLUP 930 AM, KSLR 630 AM, KNTH 1070 AM, and 103.3 FM, Facebook Live, podcasts everywhere, YouTube, and talklawradio.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's quite a platform here.
So you've lived here a long time. Tell our listeners how long you've been a part of San Antonio, Schertz, Bulverde, Spring Branch, and what that means to you as someone running for the Board of Trustees.
Well, I moved here in 1981, and I've worked and lived, in the community. I have clients in the community with families. I have watched some of my friends' kids grow up in school systems. I had a son that went to school in the district that I'm running for. So I have a little bit of knowledge, even back then, what was going on in the schools. So just being here for this long and watching people grow up and what's the changes that are going on in our communities and our schools are really different from when I went to school or when my son went to school. So, I was asked to run at the last minute when the deadline was that day. Mark LaHood, who was a friend of my son's, called me and said, what are you doing? It was a Friday afternoon. And I said, what are you doing? I think it's, aren't you, it's early voting. Aren't you supposed to be campaigning? And I go, why are you calling me? And he goes, we need you. And I said, for what? And he goes, I need you to go down to the Northeast Independent School District headquarters and get your name on the ballot. And I said, for what? And he goes, the school board seat is opening up and we want you to run. And I was like, why me? I mean, I don't have kids in school. I, don't have grandkids going to school. And he said, just because we need you to step up. And I know Mark and I trust him. So I said, okay, I'll think about it and maybe I'll let you know. And he goes, well, you got to be down there by 4:00 today. Mm-hmm. That's the deadline. And I was like, oh boy. So I hung up the phone and went to a friend next door who I trust and who used to volunteer and be all up in her PTA with her kids and her grandkids and stuff. And she's retired. I thought, well, maybe she'll run. So I went over there and I asked her and she said, no, but I'll drive you down there. And I was like, okay, so here we go. We get in the car. I go, I don't know what we're doing. And she said, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I tried to talk her into doing it all the way down there. And then when we got down there, I just started filling out the application. And I thought, okay, maybe I can withdraw. I'll do this. I've done it. Maybe I'll think about it and pray about it. And so I decided to pray about it for 3 days and talk to 3 of my mentors. And I came to, and then I started talking to parents again, like, what do you think?
What did they tell you? What did the parents say?
They all said, we need somebody. They were all like really supportive. Like they really wanted somebody to, like me, to go in and that they knew, that they could trust, that I would be their voice and that their ears and, and their eyes and what's going on, because you don't know what's going on unless you sit there and watch a board meeting, online. But they really wanted me to go in and, have a voice for people. And parents want transparency. They want to know what's going on now. They want to know what's in the curriculum. They don't like what's being taught outside of the basics, like, math, English, music, sports, what we used to do when we went to school.
Yeah. So
I decided, I can do this. If I take fear out of the equation of the unknown, because, I've never ran for an office. I don't sit on boards, but I was a parent. I understand what, parents want for their kids in school. We want safe schools. We want it to have a good education. We want them to have, if they want to go into skilled trades, we don't have that anymore. We need skilled trades.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to be able to adapt or equip kids to go off to college with skill sets, not just, off into college, into the Neverlands with nothing to back up, give them a support system. So, and they really only have one chance in school, and, till their 12th grade. They only have this one chance. And the other thing that happened was I was at lunch with a couple, and while we were there, their daughter texted them in New Braunfels. They had lockdown, and she was hiding in a closet, waiting for the police to come around. And I thought, this is not right,
Right.
And that was just another confirmation,
Mm-hmm.
we need safety in our schools. When we grew up, like I was saying earlier, we just worried about bullies,
Right.
and they weren't even bad bullies, they were just scary. Now there's real bullies
Mm-hmm.
and real stuff in our schools that should not be there.
You have a strong faith. I think the Lord will give you courage.
Oh, yeah. Because that's when I prayed about it, I kept hearing, take fear out of the equation. Would you do it? Take fear out of the equation. And I was like, yeah, fear not, that's in the Bible.
Right.
365 times or something
Mm-hmm.
like that every day. Fear not. So I said, okay, I'll do this, and I'll just do the best I can like I do with everything else. I'll get prepared. I'll be there. I'll show up. I'll ask questions. I'll push back if I don't think something's right. And hopefully that'll be enough.
Tell us about the service, your service in the community, up to this point.
Oh, I've always volunteered. I like volunteering, especially if you're depressed or something. You go hang out with some volunteers. They're usually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that you've volunteered to do?
Meals on Wheels. I used to do that when I worked at Little Caesars. I did that. They let me go off 1 day a week. They would give me time off to go do that. They were
Mm-hmm.
really great about stuff like that. Man, I really did have really good employers. Now that I look back at it,
Mm-hmm.
they allowed me to volunteer a lot. And I volunteered at the children's shelter there too, and they would donate the pizzas for me to take to the children's shelter. Church Under the Bridge. I did that before they had the big building downtown. We would all, several churches would meet at one big church, at 4:00 in the morning, and we'd start cooking, making the meals, and then we would literally go under the bridge and hand out meals
Mm-hmm.
until the city got involved, and we had to have temperature, control and all that kind of stuff, and so that's when they went in, and it was actually Lee Hotchkiss who helped develop or build that Church Under the Bridge. He was part of that, and he was my employer too. So at my church, after I like to do when I'm depressed, go stand at the door, sign up to stand at the door, and because you got to smile.
As a greeter.
As
right.
a greeter, and so you're forced to smile, and then by the end of the service, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I've heard that. Smile and you'll find something to smile about.
Yeah, and it works. It really does
Mhm.
work. So, I've always volunteered, if people need something, or I like it. It's just a part of serving, which is what I do in real estate too.
Right. Well, tell us what's happening in real estate right now. Tell us about your certifications and.
Oh, okay. Well, I just got my license in Michigan as well. I got my real estate license in Michigan. The plan is to head up there when it's really hot here.
Yeah.
Build a team up there and stay about 5 months out of the year, and then stay here and have a team here as well. I love both Texas and Michigan. I mean, I grew up in Michigan. That was half my life. And then I came down here and I built a life down here in Texas. And I can't let go of either state. So, and I love real estate. I love homes. I love everything about building homes. So that's where my passion is. So as far as the market goes, we're pretty much stabilizing. We're no more crazy town, like during COVID and right after COVID.
Right.
It's we're more in the middle. We're getting to be a bit balanced market. So, Buyers still have more choices, though, because sellers are staying on the market a little bit longer than they used to. So basically, buyers need to, they got more power negotiating, and sellers need to go right out at the gate, be prepared for their home to, because the first 7 to 14 days are going to matter. It's going to put the stage of what their house is going to do. So they got to be priced right, and they got to be, pristine and ready to go, be launched. So
there's so many online real estate companies now. What can you offer as a human being?
That's a good question. Well, I have a 100% close rate right now, which, could change, but except for my own properties, which I test on the market. But I'm kind of like a pit bull grit girl when it comes to transactions, just trying to make sure that everybody gets to the closing table and gets what they want and don't leave any money on the table. That's kind of my strategy. But as far as what I need to do, I'm sorry, could you
tell us more about your grit girl attitude?
Oh, okay.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, my mom was the original grit girl. She, back in the 70s, she was one of the very first women to work at a cement plant in Alpena. So, and because my dad was a heliarc welder, and he was in an accident when they were early on, and he became an epileptic, so he couldn't work any longer. So she had to step up. So in Michigan, she went after the high-paying jobs, like the union jobs, So she worked for Mobil. She dug pipeline up on the UP, with a group of guys, and she was always working shift work and stuff like that. But they had started a trucking business, and that's the Teamsters went on strike, so we had to move from Michigan to Florida so they could keep their trucks running, because my mom and dad had bought like 3 trucks, and they were all entrepreneurs, so that's kind of where we get our my base from. But so we were down in Florida, and like a truck driver took off and was at a bar or something. So my mom had to get up and go find the truck and take the load. And she didn't know how to drive it, so she was grinding gears, and she jumped in that thing, and she got the job done. And that's where I get my grit from.
If someone wants to talk to you or meet with you to talk about real estate or children, families, and schools, how should they contact you?
Well, my website, gritgirlrealtor.com, and I also have my candidacy campaign website, which is Cheri, Cheri, NSID7@gmail.com is my email, and I also have the website.
Okay, great. Well, we got to take a break. Next segment, we'll be talking about hidden legal issue blind spots. Then we'll talk about sinners and saints and legacy too. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.